Hey, this is Notser, and this is the 0.5.8 patch preview, and it's the Japanese commander introducing the game. Why not have the German commander introduced as well? And also, the Russian commander. Of course, there is the standard American commander that uses the normal English that we all know and love. I don't know if the British are going to get a flavored English for their ships. I would love it if they did it. Same with the Poles. I don't know if the Polish are getting the audio for their particular ship. However, they do have localized Chinese, both variants. Actually, it's pretty funny. And to access it, you go into the audio tab, obviously under settings, where you can select between Russian, English, Chinese, the People's Republic variant, German, Korean, Chinese, the Taiwan variant, and Japanese. Notice there's no Polish. You can also change the battle voiceover between standard and national. Make sure if you have national selected, it's going to override the voiceover language you've selected. But if you feel like playing the game in Japanese for every single ship, you can do that now. The freedom is there. You no longer need a mod. They also added the damage counter. Now you go into settings, controls, and you enable detailed ribbons and damage indicator, and it will be in the top right corner of the screen in battle. They also included enable AA and secondary guns if priority target is set, and that's that little cursor with the crosshair that I select all the time, constantly in my battles for the primary target for my AA or my secondary guns. It's a really good habit to get into it. Sometimes you'll forget, and if you didn't know this, when you turn off your AA, you're turning off your secondaries. Not that there's a lot of overlap between those two particular ships, because the only people that really turn off their AA are the destroyers, and I don't think a destroyer has a secondary. So we're going to engage this enemy battleship, and in a fairly reasonable range. Notice that the shell is white. They changed AP to look very white. It's very obvious which shell type, and if we make contact, come on, Notser. I was going to show you the ribbon system. The ribbons have definitely changed, and there's way more detail. We're going to have to wait for the next salvo to see if I can actually deliver on my promise to show off the ribbons. Enemy Isokaze is interested in engaging me. That's a bold strategy, Isokaze, but I like the strategy, of course. So I unload AP again on the enemy Phoenix, and we're going to see if we get the ribbons this time. There we go, finally. Okay, left to right, penetration, non-penetration, over-penetration, and ricochet. If you ever want to access that information again, just take your cursor and hover over the shell type in the top right corner of the screen. It will give you a detailed breakdown of penetration, non-penetration, over-penetration, and ricochet. But now that this Isokaze is hell-bent on engaging me, I'm going to engage him with my guns, and we finally penetrate, and we do 2k to the enemy Isokaze, which now causes the damage counter to be visible on the screen. And I unloaded AP. I didn't plan to engage the destroyer, but he is aggressive. He's crazy, right? Who would do this? One of the advantages of the Myogi is that you have 2 back guns instead of 1. So moving away from the target, you're pretty effective. We get 2 more penetrations. My Japanese commander is telling me about torpedoes incoming. We need to be careful. Those particular torpedoes, however, will pass harmlessly, and if our secondaries actually make contact, you'll be able to see a brand new ribbon as well, and I think the damage counter will go up. Oh, here comes some more torpedoes. We gotta be careful. We gotta be narrow. Get narrow, Notser. And yeah, you just saw the secondary ribbon, another ribbon, and we're able to actually see damage done based on that ribbon. We got a little bit more damage. Now we're up to 8,700. I am spending a long time looking in the top right corner. I'm not really aware of exactly how much damage I was doing, but it was, what, 59, and now it's 87, so just under 3k, I think. Oh, secondaries are able to kill the target, and you see the amount of damage we did. It gets tallied up. I think we did, what, 200 points of damage. Got, of course, close quarter combat, and he sends out more torpedoes, and yep, I'm going to pass harmlessly. I'm going to engage the Isokaze. I have HE loaded. I swapped to AP. Oh, wow. 6,800 points of damage, 4 penetrating shots, incapacitated 3. And I don't think the game told you prior how many modules you incapacitated. I think it just said you incapacitated something. I'm not 100%, but I don't remember seeing so many incapacitation ribbons in the previous system. I switched to AP because who would expect to hit a long shot like that? That was just luck, honestly. The target wasn't paying attention at all. I would rather engage something like a Phoenix, and we overpin the Phoenix, we defend the base, and I don't really know how much damage I did, but if it's an over-penetrating shot, it's not a lot. I think an over-penetration does, what, 30% of the damage that it would normally do? I'm not 100% on this. With all this extra information, however, we will know exactly how much damage a particular shell should do or should not do. So it's great. Having this detail will definitely improve the play of the players. I really want the armor preview system. They've shown it off, what, 3 or 4 videos, and it's just cruel. The enemy Phoenix, perfectly broadside. What could go wrong, right? We engage the target, and 2 over-penetrating rounds for 6,200, but the Isokaze that we did damage to is here, and I would love nothing more to kill him. He's in that range where you should expect to take him out, and you should definitely assist your friend. Friendly Isokaze is also trying to engage him. These 2 guys, they're like pea shooters. They don't have guns really that effective. My guns, however, are very effective, and he turns away just as I fire. Enemy battleships have taken care of the friendly cruiser that was just to the northeast of my position, and now they're firing on me. I'm thin as a blade, though, to them, and of course, incapacitate one of my back guns that I would need to take out the Isokaze. Isokaze disappears, but we can't worry about that now. We need to take on the enemy, and that enemy battleship is backing up. Myogi. The Wyoming is moving forward, I believe, so I led the enemy Myogi in reverse. He gets a pretty good damaging shot. One of them got a pretty good damaging shot on me. But I'm still alive, and I still have a ton of heals that I can make use of, and that's what I'm going to do. I reorient my angle. If you have most of your guns facing one aspect of your ship, the stern, then you should try and use that to your advantage. Don't keep sacrificing your damage because you play it in another ship, like a high-tier American or Japanese battleship, with guns facing forward. And we take pretty good damage. The Phoenix is pretty narrow, but he might turn into a broadside. Oh, please just continue going broadside. I fire my gun, leading him in that direction. We get 2 shells that look pretty accurate. Oh yeah, that's accurate. We got a Citadel, first Citadel of the game, and it's a black icon. I'm really used to the yellow or whatever the icon is now. I can visualize it. I just have to get used to it, of course. And devastating strike. That was pretty good. We got pretty lucky that 2 of our shells were that accurate, though. The other shells looked like they weren't going to hit the target at all. The enemy Wyoming is firing on my position. He's pretty stationary. Were they actually in contact? Or is it just the way he's playing the game? Of course. Short and long, right? That's the way it works out in these early tier battleships. They don't have the amount of guns or the accuracy to really rely on. The enemy, Myogi, is, well, he's having a difficult time. Why not assist in his difficult time by sending him to the next match? He's showing a perfect broadside. We fire on his target. Looks like we're going to get pretty good accuracy. Yes, indeed. We actually got an overpin. That must have been on a superstructure. 2 shells penetrated, though, and we did, what, 7,600? And again, it's still important to have good angling, but I can tell they're firing AP at me. The shell is white, very white. I really like this change. I know it's been in a mod. Yeah, oh, I could easily tell. Well, in the action, orange and orange-red is so close. You know, it's very subtle. And, oh, nice. 11,000 points of damage, high caliber. 5 shells penetrated, 1 over-penetrated. And he's firing on us. That was an overpen. And more overpen because they're hitting the superstructure. Okay, there was a good shot, 3,500. If I could take out this target, I will have access to my 2 back guns. I don't really need my 2 back guns to finish him off if I get the dispersion that I'm looking for, and ooh, for a second there it looked like it was going to straddle the target, but it didn't. And we can focus on the enemy Wyoming. Now the Wyoming this might be his first time ever playing the Battleship, because he's not really going after me, even though I'm probably an easier target for him. He's going after the Isokaze. I understand the fear, but you can't just sail perfectly broadside very slow and expect to survive. Ooh, this is a good dispersion. Oh, yes! 10,000 points of damage, 1 Citadel, and 1 normal penetrating round. The back gun's ready to go. They fire. Again, we're getting pretty good dispersion, and 3,300. Okay, no Citadel, but I'll take the damage. The enemy is still moving. Is he even moving at this point? He's stationary. That is probably not a good idea in front of a destroyer, and we're going to just continue. Another Citadel, 11,000 points of damage. Of course, how could I not? He is a stationary battleship. Finally, he decides to fire on me. He's firing HE. Ooh, that's a good accuracy. Oh, man. That was a lot of damage in a short amount of time. 2 more Citadels. But again, Notser. It was a stationary battleship. I know. This game is just to show off the ribbon system. I'm trying to enjoy myself. Hopefully you are enjoying seeing the ribbon structure. I definitely like the changes. I will say, though, that the medals are now rather large. I don't know if that's by design, but in relation to the ribbons they've chosen, they look a little out of place, right? They're taking up more space. They're probably pushing down the size we capture the base. That's the capture. So what I have gathered, they wanted to have more precise information communicated to the player in a very quick and simple manner, and I think they've hit it out of the park. It's very easy to know exactly how successful or unsuccessful you have been with your shells. You can easily tell what type of shell is coming towards you and what you're firing at the enemy. It's just a great patch, and they continue to improve the game every single patch. I really like the ribbons. I really do. I think it's much more obvious how good or bad you're doing. You can adjust your aim point if you see, oh, I'm overpinning, oh, I'm ricocheting. And sometimes an overpin isn't obvious compared to a penetration. And honestly, that's probably one of the main reasons they wanted to communicate better to the player what's going on. And I really like that, of course. I hope everyone likes that. We did a close quarter kill, a devastating strike, high caliber, 4 kills, 94,000 points of damage, over 300,000 credits earned. That's a fair game in a tier 4 battleship. 1,835 base XP, and we had a fellow 1,600, very good game by him. And most of the damage, of course, main battery, AP, right? Not really in range for secondaries to be effective, other than that destroyer kill. I hope you enjoyed seeing 0.5.8. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time.